Hi, my name is Mary Finn. I'm with the Art Education Graduate Program at University of Florida. I'm presenting my curriculum plan for long-term plan of study for ninth grade, and the estimated time of completion for this unit plan is 8 weeks. These three lessons are based on the National Art Standards of Visual Learning for Early High Schoolers. In this day and age, showing emotion through something other than traditional mediums, such as language, which they learn in other classroom settings, is incredibly important. Essential questions that apply to all three of these lessons are: what emotions can artwork evoke from humans? Is there any particular artworks you can think of that made you feel a certain way while looking at it? What specific emotions do you think the artist was feeling while creating this piece, and what do they want viewers to take away from it? And I have listed here a quote that also goes with these lessons. It's one of my favorites. Art is one of the sources through which the soul expresses itself and it inspires others. But to express art thoroughly, one must have the inner emotions opened thoroughly. Andy Warhol and Keith Haring are both artists that I see a lot of similarities between, and I use them in lesson 1 to teach about bright colors and positive emotions through art. Haring was known for his activism in the 1990s, and his artwork is neon colors and usually these dancing figures. Andy Warhol is most famous for his Campbell soup can painting and his Marilyn Monroe monochromatic painting. That's also known as pop art, which we will learn about in this lesson. Two other artists that I introduced are artists that work in black and white, mainly with charcoal as their weapon of choice. Taking out color in the second lesson while also displaying emotion through artwork is a skill that can be learned, and this can be done through great shading, crisp work done with charcoal, hatching, and cross-hatching. Katie Kolowitz is a great example of hatching and cross-hatching with charcoal, as we see in her self-portrait here, which we also learned in this lesson. And Dan Pyle is incredible in his work with realistic shading and tones that look like photographs. My last two works of art that I will introduce are two of my favorites, and that personally stopped me in my tracks the first time that I saw them. The mural from the National Center for Civil and Human Rights has a lot of meaning behind it. Martin Luther King Jr. is from Atlanta, so the city has a rich history and a lot of artwork that pays homage to the civil rights movement. This particular piece displays a multitude of different movements, with a hand in the middle unifying them. The second piece studied is by Gustav Klimt, and it's titled The Kiss. This piece has a lot of detail, both in the contrasting clothes worn by the man and woman, and in the background and the foreground. The gold used makes this piece stand out from most and illuminates it. You can feel the passion through the painting with the way the woman's head is turned along with her body language, and the way the man's hand is placed on her. Although these pieces are very different, they both engulf you in emotions and have great detail that leaves viewers staring for ages. Lesson 1 is based around the emotions happy, excited, and silly. Each student for each lesson will pick one of the three emotions to base their artwork off of that they want the viewer to feel. The color wheel is introduced. Following this, I will do a paint lesson to show the color wheel in action. Students choose which artist speaks to them the most and which color combination they choose to do that they learned during the lecture. They mix their own acrylic paint, which I will oversee after my demonstration, and work to create their piece displaying the emotion of their choosing. Lesson 2 is a charcoal lesson, so I think it's a bit more challenging for students to figure out how to show emotion in this one. They will practice their techniques on the worksheet that will be handed out after the lecture, and will be creating drawings based off of still lifes. I will have multiple still lifes set up at different tables so that they can choose from, and we'll play music during these class periods to try and bump up the emotions in the classroom if they're having a hard time drawing inspiration just from the charcoal itself. In the last lesson, lesson 3, it is a collage piece. Students will choose their last emotion from the three given and have the freedom to use any of the mediums shown. They will brainstorm 4 main focal point drawings, just like the hand in the mural. Then they will create their piece on a multimedia paper, and I will be observing the classroom if anyone has questions or needs help with further inspiration. Assessment for this assignment will include participation in class and group discussions following lectures. The grading rubric for this unit grades students on their participation and attitude, understanding of materials, understanding of concepts taught, and their overall grade. They will also fill out a self-assessment worksheet at the end of each lesson after presenting their work to the class. My original art consists of 2 black and white pieces, 1 collage piece, and a Keith Haring inspired multimedia painting. The black and white pieces and the Keith Haring inspired piece are pretty self-explanatory. The collage piece, my main focal point that I chose, is a woman that I cut out from a magazine. She's surrounded by feminist aspects that I both drew and cut out from magazines. This includes beauty standards, different shades of makeup for inclusion, different sized lips. It is a celebration of females of every shape, size, and color from what I could fit into my collage. What do I hope happens when I implement this unit with my intended learners? Students should feel a boost in confidence when it comes to expressing emotions both in and out of the classroom, and overall understanding of the materials as well. What I hope students take away from this unit is confidence, empathy, and understanding. I want them to look at future artworks and wonder what the artist was trying to convey and how they would want the viewer to feel. I hope that they leave the classroom feeling refreshed emotionally, as art can be therapeutic, especially for high school students.